thank you so much for joining Egypt Oil and Gas Talks. It's really good to have you again with us.
It's my pleasure, Mohammed, as usual.
Sameh, let me go to a very important question that's coming on my mind for a while. You've been operating in the Gulf of Suez for the past 45 years.
Yes.
Why did you exit?
Good question. I think everyone is asking this question. Of course, we have been operating in Gulf of Suez since 45 years, and it has been always our legacy fields and our legacy presence in Egypt. But nevertheless, as you know, things develop, and part of this development is our strategy. After 45 years of operating in Gulf of Suez, we have to say that we were very much privileged with great partnership with EGPC and the state of Egypt, and we have managed through those 45 years to actually achieve a lot. But now with the change of strategy, where everybody is moving more to energy transition, and we have announced our energy transition pathway for Wintershall, where we have committed ourselves globally to objectives and targets where we become a net zero for our emissions by year 2030, both for operated and non-operated assets. This requires efforts to achieve that target, and one of the efforts is portfolio management. And unfortunately, because of the aging facilities in Gulf of Suez, and because of the level of emissions, it's a very emissions-intense asset, we had to pull out of it because it doesn't fit with our future. And as you know, we are very much leaning to a gas-weighted portfolio. And of course, the oil production in Gulf of Suez didn't really fit to the future. But I'm quite glad to say that even though it doesn't fit to our strategy for the future, but it's still a very valuable asset. And we were very glad to reassign it to EGPC. And we are quite sure that this will be a successful operational, also profitable for EGPC. And it's a win-win arrangement that I'm quite happy to say that the deal we made to divest it back to EGPC is actually a win-win arrangement, where EGPC and the Ministry of Petroleum were quite pleased with the arrangement we have done, which I think was very fair and was reflecting us also being committed to our remaining obligations in the asset when it comes to asset integrity, when it comes to HSE, where we have fulfilled all that before leaving.
So we're going to see Wintershall playing a bigger role in the coming years in the gas exploration production business. Definitely.
Yes, of course. The exit from Gulf of Suez is just one portfolio management step that to fit with our objectives and our strategy. But it does not mean anything less about our commitment to Egypt and our interest to grow in Egypt and to stay. And we are actively looking and evaluating other opportunities, more leaning towards gas. But nevertheless, we are actively trying to evaluate other opportunities where we can grow and regain additional weight and even go further in Egypt.
You did mention that part of your new strategy into the energy transition and reaching to a carbon net zero by 2030. The dilemma of energy transition, climate change, COP27 and COP26, and being in the oil and gas industry where we're, as we always say, if we're part of the problem, we should be part of the solution.
Yes.
So what's your thoughts as a company throughout the world, especially with the energy transition process and the time factor? And are we in a good stage? Are we moving too fast?
Yeah, good point. Well, yes. Of course, first of all, let's confirm that we are committed, of course, to the energy transition pathway. And as said, we have our commitments. We have announced and promised the market that we will achieve those targets by the years announced. But nevertheless, as said, we really believe that we should focus on natural gas, not only as a cleaner source, cleaner product, but also as the perfect transitional product, which could be converted later to hydrogen or other products that would be cleaner and more suiting the future. But nevertheless, as you said, we believe that this has to take all the plans, all the ambitions in the world has to take into consideration a number of open questions. But if the world cannot just give up fossil fuels overnight. And we believe that this would require a transitional period where focus on natural gas would be the answer in our view. We are quite happy that Egypt is hosting the COP27 version in November on behalf of Africa. And we believe that this, from one side, would create the right momentum for this part of the region, for Africa, for the East Med, for Egypt as well, to progress in policy making, in putting plans and strategy for energy transition. But at the same time, we really hope that this will also bring attention to the world, to this region,
Yes.
which is underprivileged when it comes to access to clean sources of energy, or actually
To energy.
the bare minimum of
Exactly,
energy, sources of energy. The transitional period has to be reasonable, taking into consideration that some parts of the world are less progressed when it comes to that, and some parts of the world have much they have much more challenges to face when it comes to access to energy per se, before even discussing cleaner energy.
Absolutely.
But it does not mean that we should escape from our commitment and obligation to the world. And I really hope that in COP27, the oil and gas industry is introduced as part of the solution, and to be more present, which and this is something that was actually noticed in COP26, that the voice of the industry was not really heard.
True.
Because think about it, who else has the technology, has the capital to invest to actually support the energy transition?
True.
Who else have this long-term vision and long lead between investment and waiting until returns come to surface? I think oil and gas industry should and is part of the solution. It should be introduced in this way.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Sameh, and we always appreciate your insights and your experience with us.
My pleasure.
And looking forward to having you again once more at EOG Talks and another state. Thank you so much.
Muhammad.
Thank
Thank
you.
you very much.
Thanks, Sameh.